How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. I'm Jason Bull, and today is all about your bars and stem. Now, of course, all your steering inputs go through your bars and stem, and the benefits there are obvious, but they also have an effect on your weight distribution on the bike. This can mean you are better or less able to generate traction on the front wheel while cornering, and also the weight that is placed on your arms while descending. So let's have a look at a few helpful things to know when setting up your bars and stem. So when it comes to the handlebars, there are three factors we'll have a look at in this video, and that is the width of your bars, the rise, and the roll, which could be forward or backwards. The width of the bars has an effect on the leverage that you have over the front wheel. Wider bars are more popular in the gravity side of the sport, where there's a lot of forces going through the front wheel and you need that leverage, but generally we've seen a trend towards wider bars in the sport. Around 780 mils is the standard. Some people prefer a bit wider than that, while most people actually would prefer slightly narrower, especially if your shoulders aren't incredibly wide. If your bars are too wide for your body, you're going to actually struggle to maneuver well on the bike, and so cutting down the bars can be an advantage for some. You need to look at your own handlebar setup and decide whether you feel like you're needing more leverage over the front wheel, or if your arms are actually too wide spread apart for you to effectively make directional changes. If you know how to, cutting down your bars is definitely something you can do at home, but if you're unsure, check in with your local bike shop, of course, and they should be able to give you a hand in this department. When it comes to the rise of the handlebars, higher rise bars have also been more popular in the gravity side of riding. They bias your weight a bit further back on the bike, making it more comfortable to do longer descents and steeper descents. If you find that your weight is quite heavily biased over the front of the bike, putting a lot of pressure on your arms and you're taking strain there, it could be worthwhile looking into a bar with a higher rise. Increasing the rise of your bar will allow you to also preserve the reach of the bike instead of just raising up more stack underneath the stem, but we'll have a look at that just now. 25 to 30 mils of rise is considered quite a high rise bar, whereas 15 to 20 mils is mid-pack, and then flat bars, which are generally more appropriate for marathon riding. They put you in quite an aggressive position over the bike, which is good for those long rides and climbing steeper climbs and getting efficiency there. Rolling your handlebars slightly forward or slightly backwards can also affect your weight distribution on the bike. Rolling them forwards obviously pulls you a bit further onto the front wheel, which can benefit your cornering traction on the front wheel. This also extends the reach a bit, so it'll help your cockpit feel a little bit roomier. Something you can play with, make small adjustments here, but it can have quite a big effect on your comfort and control over the bike. Of course, making adjustments or changing out the stem that you have on your bike will have profound impacts on the steering feel that you have, as well as your weight distribution on the bike. A shorter stem makes for quite a fast feel to your steering, while a longer stem gives you a bit of a sweeping feel as your hands are out in front of the steering axis. If the stem on your bike is 60 mils or even longer and you're looking to increase the downhill performance of your bike, then definitely look at something in the 40 to 55 mil category. That will bias your weight a bit further back on the bike, making you more comfortable on the descents and allowing you better control over the steering. Another way to adjust your cockpit height is to add or remove spaces underneath the stem. Now, this is different from having a higher or lower rise on your handlebars because this also affects your reach. As you add spaces underneath the stem, it'll raise the cockpit up, but because of the angle of your steering tube, it'll also slightly reduce the reach of your bike. If that's something you're looking to do, then that could be of benefit for you, but if you are looking to preserve the reach and increase the height of your cockpit, then going with a higher rise handlebar is going to be a better route to go. As with other adjustments to the height of your cockpit, as you raise that up and the cockpit gets higher, your weight is going to be biased a bit further backwards, which could be more comfortable for descending, but might mean that you don't get as much weight on the front wheel to generate traction while cornering, and then the converse is obviously true for lowering the height there. You've got to figure out which works best for you and suits your riding style and the kind of trails that you enjoy riding. An obvious but possibly underrated component of your cockpit is your grips. A lot of people just run whatever grips are on their bike and swap them out for a cheap set that they can find at the local bike shop when their grips are quite worn. But obviously, if you think about it, having grips that are suited to your hand in terms of the width of the grip and the diameter is crucial to having really good control over the bike, to having a good feel and connection with the handlebars. We really recommend that you find the kind of grip that works best for you. If you've got bigger hands, you might want to find a wider grip or a grip with a bigger diameter. Larger diameter grips also help with arm pump on long descents. Your hands aren't as small and crunched up. Some grips have a bit of a wing on them, which can help with wrist pain when you're riding. There's a lot out there to suit everyone's preferences and riding style. So it's worth, really spending the money, spending the time on finding what's going to work best for you and allow you to enjoy riding a bike more at the end of the day. Your brakes obviously also form part of your cockpit setup, given that the angle of your brakes and their location affects your control and comfort on the bike. Our previous Tech Tuesday had a look at all that you need to know when setting up your brake levers. So if you're looking to make some adjustments to your brake levers and see what there is to do there, have a look at that previous Tech Tuesday. As always, we want to encourage you to go out and make these adjustments on your own bike. It's a good opportunity to learn a bit if you're not so familiar with how your body interacts with your bike and how your cockpit setup affects that. Let us know in the comments what you found helpful or what you might do differently. We'll see you on the trails.